Do you enjoy taffy, but you're trying to watch the sugar intake and you just can't seem to find that right recipe for some brittle? Well, guess what? I have a recipe you might enjoy, and I'm going to be doing this with, it's called the Keto Toffee. Question here. I don't know why I just asked that. Take two. Do you enjoy taffy, but you're trying to watch the sugar intake and you just can't seem to find that right recipe for some brittle? Well, guess what? I have a recipe you might enjoy, and I'm going to be doing this with, it's called the Keto Toffee. Keto Toffee. Duh. Yay. Take three. And what I'm going to be doing today is it's made with Splenda, or you can use any brand you want. I don't know why, I just can't get this right first. All right, have you ever tried doing a taffy, or not trying to do, take two. Do you love taffy and you're just trying to find that right dessert because you're trying to watch your sugar intake and you're trying to lower your A1C? Well, I found a keto recipe for a keto toffee recipe. And so hopefully we'll go to make this today, and I hope you can make it as well, and I hope you enjoy this because I will show you how to do it with Splenda. Well, hello and welcome to my kitchen. I'm Johnny, also here representing my channel as Cajun Roots Cuisine, where I do cooking and tips and tricks and things like that. I've learned cooking from my grandmother when I was at the age of 7. And that was in the bayou state of Louisiana, and all the bayous of Louisiana. And I'm going to walk you through this recipe today. I've never made it, but it looked really good. And I also am trying to not only watch my A1C, but keep it down. And this recipe is called the Keto Toffee. Now, I will add a little bit of something else to it because everything I'm using is either sugar, no sugar added, zero sugar, or with Splenda. And we're going to use this today. One of the first things you want to do is get you prepping together because this does go really quick. It's a fast recipe. So also, if this is your first time coming by the channel, I want to thank you so much for coming on by. And if you've been returning, I want to thank you so much for your continuous support. But what I'm going to ask you is free. Right below the video, there's that word subscribe. Please make a check and see if you're subscribed. Right next to hit the notification so you get all videos when I come out with all of them, or any video. And then also, please hit me the thumbs up and the comments. Please leave me a comment if you enjoy this or you would like to see another recipe. I'm going to start trying to do different types of keto recipes. I am trying to stick to this type of recipe, this type of diet. You know, that's a dirty word. Don't say it, Johnny. But anywho, we all have to face it every now and then. And as we get older, we tend to try to find lighter recipes. And this is just one of them I want to try. So without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, the first thing you're going to want to do is do a thin quarter pan. I'm using a regular thin baking one, a baking pan, and you need parchment paper. What I've done is already took each corner of the parchment paper and cut them in an angle because I want to make sure when the toffee is hit to this that it curves and turns the corners easier, and I'll show you that when we get to that step. Now you can also, this is a non-stick parchment paper, but if you can't find your non-stick, you can also spray this with some type of pan spray or oil that you want to go ahead and coat it with. So it doesn't stick to it. So we'll put that to the side for this moment. Then you're going to need a saucepan. But along with that saucepan, you're going to need a whisk. This will be very simple and easy. And so when you go to make this video, you want to make sure you are paying attention to this part because it's, I don't know if you ever made pecan candy. Similar to the same thing. The only thing is you won't be able to drop the little drops into the water, see if it forms a boil, because we're using Splenda. And I'm using Splenda brown sugar blend for the sugar. And you're going to need butter, an unsalted butter, 1 cup. And let me make sure I keep this recipe so I can see it. How about if I do this? So it makes it look like I'm looking at y'all at the same time. There we go. Hey, I'm cooking with Earl. You're gonna need 1 cup of unsalted butter. This happens to be some Amish butter that I love picking up at the market. And I love the Amish butter. It's been really good, but you can use any unsalted butter. You're gonna need a cup. Then you're gonna need your brown sugar. You're gonna need a packed 1 cup, you wanna make sure it's evenly packed, of brown sugar. In this case, I'm using Splenda. You're gonna need some pure vanilla extract. And you're gonna need, I used for all these recipes I've been doing. I've been buying these and these are really good. It is no sugar chocolate chips. The recipe I got only calls for chocolate chips, but you can't have chocolate chips without peanut butter chips, right? So I'm gonna do this and show you the layers of how I'm gonna do this. And then once we get to that stage, I'll show you. And also, I already have measured out the water and the salt you need for this recipe, and I'll tell you as I'm going what it is. So what you want to do is you want to start with your saucepan. And what we're going to do is, I'm going to bring this, and one more thing you need. A candy thermometer. Because of the fact that when you bring this to a boil, it has to get to 300 degrees, so it'll have that crackling effect when you pour it into the pan after it gets cooled off. So you need to have one of these. And it's one of those that I can clip to the side of my pan and not have it all the way to the bottom. And once this reaches 300, we'll talk about that step as we get there. Let me get ready for the first step. All right, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring the camera down so you can see what I'm doing in the pan. I wanna make sure you see everything I'm doing. And let me make sure this thing is on. Yeah, it's blinking. And it is. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this started with the butter in 1 cup. And then I'm gonna throw this away. That has no sugar, no salt. And then in this pan to get started, you're gonna need the brown sugar and the butter. That's all of it, and let's go ahead and get this started. We're gonna go ahead and bring this to a boil. And when we bring it to a boil, you'll see where it goes from there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and let this take place first, and then I'll show you the next step. And one of the things I wanna mention too, I do have it to start with on high heat, and then once it starts to melt and combine together, I'll bring it down to a medium heat. Okay, now that it's starting to melt a little bit, I did forget to go ahead and do this at the same time. At this time, you're gonna add your water, which in this case, you will need 2 tablespoons of water, which is already measured. We'll add that to it. And we're gonna add your salt, which is a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And so this will be all incorporated together. Get these out of the way. And as we see, it's starting to kind of fall apart. The sugar's starting to kind of get to the bottom of the pan. And then now we're gonna make sure we basically bring it all to the bottom. And until this butter and all melts, we're gonna keep on stirring this until it gets all incorporated. And I'll show you that next step. All right, now that it's finally coming to a boil, I'm gonna add my thermometer to the side of the pan. But I don't wanna put it all the way to the bottom. I just wanna make sure it sits right on the top of this mixture, like that. That way I can watch the temperature get to 300. And then I'm gonna keep stirring this until all that butter is melted, and then incorporate the sugar and the butter together. It's starting to come to a rolling ball. And now we're just gonna keep letting this roll boil and get hot enough until it gets to 300 degrees, because again, we wanna make sure it be able to crackle. So we'll continuously stir this. You do not wanna walk away from it at this point, because of the fact that you don't want it to boil over, first of all. And second of all, you wanna make sure you're ready for when it hits that 300 degrees, because then you'll have to move a little quick at that point and then get your pan ready. Also, I want to mention, I forgot one thing you're going to need for the top of it when I'm done, is the sea salt. And I already have 1 tablespoon already measured out on the side. So I have the 1 tablespoon already measured, ready to go, and that's going to be sprinkling on the top when we're ready. All right, so we're going to get this to 300, and I'll show you that next step. But anyhow, this is also just like as if you were making caramel. Basically, it's the same concept. The only thing is that it won't harden like a regular caramel, because of the fact that it is made with Splenda or some kind of sugar substitution. In this case, the brown sugar is Splenda. So I'm still trying to get it to 300. It's right at about 260, so I got a little bit longer to go. And what I'll do is I'll keep leaving this on the heat until it reaches that 300, and I'll show you the next step. All right, we're at the 300 degree mark now. And what you want to do is at this point, it's got a little bit more left to go. But the reason you want to keep using the spatula and stirring it, because you don't want it to stick to the bottom of the pan, which it should not, as long as you keep stirring it. Now, there is my 300 degrees, so we're going to take this off the burner. And I will place this on the towel to the side, because now we're going to have to do this portion a little bit quick. Alright, what we're going to do is take this off. And yeah, you can still see me here. Bring you in a little bit closer. Actually, I can come over a little closer too. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this candy thermometer out. Get all that goodness off of that. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to continuously stir this. Now we're going to add the vanilla. You're going to need 1 tablespoon, and I only use pure vanilla. Anytime I'm baking, it's just totally different than an imitation flavor. So we're going to do 1 tablespoon of vanilla. Get that in there. Close this up. And we're going to stir this all together. You'll hear that sizzling. That's okay. You're just going to continuously stir it all in together. Incorporate it all together. Move my peanut cones to the side over there. Get it out of the way. Because then I'm going to need to move this to the pan. And I'm going to use a spatula to get this all out. I'm done with the vanilla. This is where I remember my grandmother used to let us lick this kind of stuff once it cooled off. And guess what? That's what I'm going to be doing with this. Move that to the side. Get my pan ready. Now we're going to take and pour this in here first. And we're going to just let it go all over the place in the pan. And we'll spread it out. And then I'm using the spatula to get it all out. Clean that pan out. Get it all out of the pan. And then we're going to take and spatula this around the pan to make it even. Get all of that goodness out of here. And then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and spatula this out. I started having a little burnness in that one little corner where the thermometer was, which I should have moved it around so I can get that whole area because I wasn't stirring in that one little spot. Now, basically what we're going to do is we're going to go to all the corners, spread this out thin. And then what we're going to do is we're going to let it sit, and it'll start having this translucent color. That should be where it's going to start to sit. And you want to do this as fast as you can so it doesn't start hardening on you as it cools off. And basically I'm just going to spread this out evenly throughout the whole quarter pan. I want to get all corners. Make it as even as possible. I'm going to do this side here. Spread it out. And this would be a thin type toffee. I have not had toffee in so long because of the fact that I'm trying to keep my sugar numbers down. And I'm afraid to get too much sugar, and then I'm watching my carb intake. And what's good about this one only has net carbs of 1 gram per serving. And once we get to that portion to show you how you get a serving, we're going to break this apart. And as I feel it already starting to form, that's what you want to, why you want to do it quickly, because once it starts to cool off, it's going to start looking this little clear color. And so I want to hurry to get this done, and I can feel the difference already as I'm doing this. But I'm trying to make it all even all around all the corners. And let me get a knife, because I do not want to touch that because it's going to be hot. And I'm going to scoop the rest of this off in that little one corner right there. Yeah, there we go. Oh, that smells good too. You can smell the vanilla. Alright, get it all off of there because I want to make this all up into the pan. And this will take about 5 to 10 minutes to form up and solid. Before we put we want to make sure it's still hot, but not hot enough that we want to completely melt the chocolate and the I'm going to add peanut butter chips to it as well, which is going to be okay here. Because it's already starting to form that little corner. You're not going to see all that when you put the chocolate and all that other goodness on top. So we'll let this sit, and I'll show you what it looks like once it's actually formed up, and you'll start to see a lighter color in this stage. And this is what it looks like right now in the pan. Let that sit, and it's going to should start coming to a lighter color, which I already see some streaks right here with a lighter color. It should be about 5 or 10 minutes. We'll set the timer for 5 minutes because I don't want to make sure it's still warm enough to where I can start melt. I'm going to show you what we do with the chips next. All right, it's definitely starting to set. I can see a lot more of the lighter brown color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, it's zero sugar peanut butter chips. So basically we're just going to go ahead and cover it a little bit over all of the top. Give it a nice thin layer. And let me give you a tip on this one. If for some reason it's not hot enough where it's not going to help you melt the chips, you can also put it in your broiler, in your oven, or you can also kind of share these off. Separate it, kind of get all over the place. That's just fun. And so it is starting to melt, the heat's starting to help it melt a little bit. And that's what I want. Now, what you can do at this point is get a large baking pan and set it over it. It'll trap the heat inside of this, and then it'll help you melt the chips a little bit to where you want to get them a little softer, so it's easier to spread. So I'm going to do this part first, let that happen, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do after this. All right, the lid did not work when I covered it, so what I did was, instead of heating up my oven, I have a toaster oven, and I just put it in there for about 2 minutes, or even a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and I basically used a pot holder and turned it around. I got each half. This is where I want it to be, so this is why I wanted to do this, because I want to show you how I swirl this over and made a thin layer. And you're going to do this throughout and you just want it soft enough to where you can spread it. You can do a thin layer. And you just go through it all and evenly separate and spread it. Give you some over here in this corner. It's okay if it's not thick because we're going to come right back on it with the chocolate. Yeah. All right, and this is just the first of what I've added. The original recipe did not call for it, but Robert enjoys, my husband enjoys the peanut butter, and anything I'm making desserts with peanut butter and chocolate, so that's why I'm adding this. I love adding flavor to a dessert. And you see that little boo-boo I had right there? You don't even see it now because it's all covered up. All right, now, the next step, and let me clear this off. My hands are clean. And I'll just put that to like a corner somewhere. I'm gonna wash this off, wash my hands, and we'll do the chocolate. All right, now, we're gonna do the same thing with the chocolate. And at this point, once that chocolate is soft enough for me to spread, I want to make sure I do the final step. And again, I'm going to do the same thing here with the chocolate. Scatter it all the way across the top. I'm going to use a whole bag for this recipe. And then I'll go over in the description, you will see the recipe itself. All the information you need on this recipe. All what you need, all the items you will need to use for this recipe, as well as how much. And of course, things are optional. You can try whatever you would like with this. But we're trying to keep it zero sugar and a keto with low carbs. I try to do no more than 40 carbs a day on anything I eat total for the day. And this will definitely help it because I love my desserts. That's my weak spots. I love my dessert. And then I'm going to move this over. Make it thin because it helps easier going that way. And again, you can do the same thing if it's not hot enough and it's not going to melt fast. You can either put it in your broiler, or in this case, I'm going to hurry and put this in the toaster oven, and I'll show you the next step. Okay, I have to say, definitely the toaster oven does the trick. It's exactly what I want. All right, now I'm going to do the same thing like I did with the peanut butter. I'm going to gently spread it all over, but I want to keep it on top of that peanut butter. And basically, you can do the same thing and just spread it evenly. And we'll do this throughout the whole top. Get it all the way to the side. And we get everything covered. It's just going to be a thin layer of the chocolate right on top like the peanut butter. And just keep on moving it all the way to the side. You want to get everything covered just like that. And then of course we're going to turn this around and do the same thing here so I can get a better angle. Same thing here. And it melts it just perfectly enough to where you can spread it like you need to. Get some in that corner. Make it even. And now we're just going to even it out all the way across. You can make your little designs if you want, your swirls, it doesn't matter. Because I'm going to be topping the rest of this next step with the the pecans and sea salt. Pecans and sea salt. So let me do it this way. Make sure everything's covered evenly on the sides. Leaving that little swirl. And I'm going to try to get all this off with the spatula. Alright, that is done. And while it's still warm, now we're going to spread, we're going to do the sea salt first. And I have it measured out for 1 tablespoon total, so I want to make sure I spread this out all over. So again, just gently sea salt the whole top. And it's optional. I do not use salt, but this, because it's the toffee, salted caramel, whatever you want to call it, but this is the toffee. I've never had a toffee in so long that it's like, it's time for some. So I'm going to sprinkle this all over. Oh, shoot. I got some right here that I didn't get in there, but that's all right. Ooh, shatty bad. I can taste the toffee already like that. All right, now I'm going to take the pecans, or pecans, or whatever you want to call it, and we'll do the same thing and spread it all over. And what I could do is sprinkle a little bit on that part, but I don't want it too salty. So yeah, you can spread it out as far or as thin as you want. And then again, I want to put these all on there while the chocolate is still wet, so to say. It didn't harden yet. Because I want to make sure these pecans are in the chocolate as it gets the little weight to it. Because it's going to be inside the top of this, so it'll be even better when you go to chew on it and eat it. And then of course you're going to have the little crumbs at the bottom. I usually keep all my nuts, pecans, walnuts, almonds in the fridge in a container. And I'm glad I'm doing this by hand because I just saw a shell there. And there's one here. So you want to keep an eye on that because you can tell what the shells look like. They're a little bit darker than the actual pecans. Alright. And now I want to get that out of there before I put the rest of the crumbs. I'm just going to sprinkle it all around the side. Get in some of that area where I didn't get any at all, or a little bit. And I'll separate all of this on here, like comme ça. And that is complete. That is the actual what it's going to look like. Now, once this is done, let me bring you to my face again and bring you up in the camera view here. Hello, I'm back. All right, and so what you want to do at this point, once you have this ready, you're going to take this and you're going to refrigerate it. You want to cover it, and you want to place it in the refrigerator for about 1 to 2 hours so it can set. And once the chocolate is all hardened and the toffee is hardened, it should be able to be breaking it in pieces. So I'll show you that next step in the finished product after this is done. So I'm going to cover this with some saran wrap, cling wrap, or you can use foil, whatever you choose. But what I'm going to do is I don't want to conduct the heat inside of it. Now I want it to cool down. So this is the next portion we're going to do. Put it in the fridge, make sure it's covered, and then we'll take it out in about 1 to 2 hours to check it out. So I'll probably do about an hour and a half to see how it works in an hour and a half and see where it sets at. So until the next portion, don't forget in the description bar below, I do have all the, will have all the ingredients, what you need to do in step by step, and then all of the calories and fats and proteins and all that in the description below. So let's go ahead and get this in the fridge and we'll show you that next step when it's done. All right, now this buttery toffee that I just made, it's been an hour and a half in the fridge, so we're going to check it out. I'm going to bring the camera down so you can see it as I'm taking it out. I did cover this with some cling wrap. So let's see what this looks like. There we go. Now we cook in some Earl. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and uncover this. And as you see, it is on the, you can use wax paper or you can use, in this case I used parchment paper. I have a brain freeze there. All right, so now I'm going to release this out of the pan. And of course you're going to have some chocolate weight pieces here and there, that's fine. Now it should come right off with no problem. And if you use any other type of paper, you can also make sure you can, like wax paper and all, you can still spray it. All right, so with that being said, we'll take this out of the way. And it should break easily. And then I'm going to put them in the container here. Let's see how this breaks on me for me. Oh yeah, let's break that in half. Nice chunks. You have the caramel, the actual toffee at the bottom. You have the little thin layer of the peanut butter, and then you have the thin layer of the chocolate with the pecans and sea salt on top. So if you break them up in pieces, you can have a lot of little small pieces like this, something that you can enjoy. And I'll take pictures of this as well. And so basically I'm gonna break this all up, put it in a container. What's perfect about this is you can also make this ahead of time for the holidays coming soon. And then when you do that, you can keep it in the fridge in a container. And anytime you wanna have a quick little dessert, you have this. So I'll go ahead and take all these apart, and we're gonna close out the show. All right, now I'm gonna show you, I've finished breaking it apart. And then you can break, it doesn't matter the size. You can just portion them out, break them up however they fall apart. But what you can see is the layers. Each one of them has equal layers. And so now it's that taste time. We're gonna taste this again. It's got the toffee at the bottom, the peanut butter, and then the chocolate on top, topped with pecans, or you may call them pecans, whatever, they all the same, and depending on what region you live in. But anywho, it is time for the taste test. Again, you'll see all the different sides. You can see every layer. Pecans and sea salt on top. The moment of truth. You can hear the crunch. Oh, this reminds me of back in the day eating toffee when I was a kid. Definitely great. If you'd enjoyed this video and you want to see some more other videos, I do have a variety of videos here on the channel. Anywhere at the top, you'll see the little link. We'll bring you some more videos. And I'll start putting these in a playlist because I plan on doing more keto type recipes. Be on the lookout for that. And again, don't forget, if this is your first time here, tripping over the channel, or you've been here before, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Do me a favor. What I'm about ready to ask you is free. Right below this video is that word subscribe. Make sure you hit that word subscribe right next to the notification, so you don't miss out on any videos when I come out with those. But also hit me the thumbs up. That is greatly appreciated. But also, don't forget to leave me those comments down below if you want to see some other type of recipe. I'm trying to turn some recipes into keto. I'm trying to keep low all carbs, no sugar kind of thing. And so this is just the second one I've done so far. Be on the lookout, actually. Coming soon, I'm doing the homemade peanut butter with another dessert that I made. I haven't done it yet because I got to do some corrections on that one. But be on the lookout for that until I see y'all again. As I said before, I end each and every one of my videos. Love always. Love is always free. Please be kind to one another until we meet into another chat or a live show or even an uploaded video. Later. Peace out. And y'all come back now, you hear?